高很多。但是呢，门前守门员呢一次自己的川口能活啊，可以说非常的不可能的意外，把球呢送到了谭巴士的脚下。谭巴士呢终于为香港队打进了一个进球，也是本届皇朝杯香港队到目前为止第一个进球。但是马上呢慢镜头还没完，另边呢已经是丢了一个12码的点球2-1。而接着日本队呢借助的一个角球啊，这一下呢头槌解围之后呢，井原正己解围，但是呢球落在了另外呢边线上的队员的脚下，一脚捅进去。3-1。上半场呢我们看到呢是日本队呢已经是以3-1领先了。到了下半场，虽然日本队呢仍然是加强了压力，但是始终呢进球呢并没有说太多。而这次呢也是看到守门员的一个误会，井原正己先打门，解围出来落在了10号的明波浩脚下，这一脚压得非常的漂亮。守门员虽然扑着了，但是球还是应声挂网啊。4-1。接着呢我们看到这就是中田英寿一脚呢是吊给了吕比虚，在趁着守门员陆家荣出营之前呢，后脑勺把球顶向了空门。结果这场比赛，日本队呢就是以5-1取得胜利。那经过了各打了2场赛事之后，战绩最好的当然就是日本队，分别战胜了韩国跟香港队，得了6分。而韩国队呢是输给了日本队，赢了中国队3分。中国呢是赢了香港，输给了韩国，也是有3分。香港打到现在为止呢仍然是0分。那稍后时间到第一场的赛事呢，香港将会呢是面对这组的强队之一呢韩国队。这今天呢是在日本的国家运动场呢是进行的赛事，而稍后时间呢是日本将会对中国。好了，那我们看到在这场比赛当中，感觉上这3支队伍呢，好像香港队的。
We're not really competitive with Japan, Korea, and China on football terms, but I think in the future, this is the sort of tournament we've got to look to be competitive at maybe in 5 or 10 years' time. Hong Kong football's been going backwards for a long, long time. And finally, they've brought in a foreign coach of high quality. Sadly, he's only on a 3-month contract. If they can persuade him to stay longer, and we're looking at 3 to 5 years, then maybe Hong Kong football can start getting back to where it was in the 70s and early 80s. One of the strongest nations in Asia. Now I think we're about 128th in the rankings, which is pretty sad considering where Hong Kong was. But it's simply been down to the people who run Hong Kong football haven't had a vision. They haven't had an idea of where they wanted Hong Kong football to go, and because of that, it's just really festered. It's going nowhere. It's been going actually backwards rather than even standing still. And as you've seen, Japan, China, really push ahead in the last few years. Hong Kong's just got worse and worse. So things have to change and change quickly.
好，那我们听到谭巴士讲的还蛮悲观的，他就说，那现在呢，香港队呢也是聘请了外来的教练巴西的彭里来。他呢看到香港，他说如果想要恢复到60、70年代的这个水平，最少要5到10年。这个慢慢的讲，他就说他希望呢能够利用这个外国的教练员，能够把香港的这个足球的水平慢慢的一步提上去。但是他当中也提到，就是说香港好多在这个制度方面呢，推动足球运动方面呢，似乎呢也有待改善。否则的话呢，香港队呢想要进军，就是说能够强队的行列呢，似乎呢比较困难。但是看到这个5到10年能不能够努力成功。当然呢，我们也先问到他呢，就是说到底。
There's always been the idea that Japan have had a sort of soft edge to them. And Venables wanted to play them in the playoffs with Australia because he fancied that they could physically dominate the Japanese. And the first time ever, the Japanese came back against Iran when everything was against them. And I think that game could be the turning point in Japanese soccer. You watch some of the league games and there's hardly a tackle, there's hardly a yellow card, it's all very friendly. And you've got to get that edge to your game to play at international level. Technically, there's no one near the Japanese in Asian soccer, and don't have the potential and the structure that they've put together of the J-League. So if they can get that steel, that rough edge, that hard edge that you need, that arrogance to be competitive at top international level, the Japanese can be at the top, not just of Asia, but one of the best sides in the world in 10 or 15 years.
哇，看到谭巴士对日本队的评价。中场，那韩国对香港这场的赛事呢，一会儿呢将会在这里呢是首先登场。那看到这场的比赛呢，刚刚我们在赛前也分析过，韩国队今天有可能会倾尽全力呢争取进球。那么从我们收到的名单上看到，他这个著名的一个边后卫啊，速度相当快的李基恒呢也上场。在上一场比赛，我们已经看到崔成用呢已经是边线上这个2号呢起了很大的作用。原本这个李基恒呢在世界杯外围赛他有。
Two teams coming out for this final round of matches, and this is going to be a real test for Hong Kong. Average age of just under 30 years, and many of them really not used to 3 matches in 6 days. The likes of 34-year-old Dale Tempest, who we saw in fairly forthright fashion, having his comments on the current state in Hong Kong. Tim Bredbury, midfielder, also 34 years of age. Tim O'Shea and Dmitry Kalkanov, also very experienced. But they've really not used to playing 3 big games now in such a short space of time. So we know that the Koreans are probably the most physically adept, physically robust side in Asia, and they may just do enough to steamroller them. We shall see. Let's have the national anthems. We should be back after that. Well, the by now familiar way of presenting the anthems, and I certainly think that's going to be a feature of the World Cup when it goes to Japan and Korea in 2002. A novel twist. The 2 teams, little handshake before the start, and it's, I think, before the deluge. Tim O'Shea, the instant Dick defender, has a great experience alongside number 5 there, the Bulgarian Dmitry Kalkanov. Solid at the back. Dale Tempest there in number 9. Played a little bit more forward than he did in the opening game against China. Against Japan, they tried to push him up with Ao Wai Lun up front. Number 13, Leung Chi Wing, comes in for his first full start. But the Koreans, Lee Ki-hyung, number 3, very experienced fullback. That's the captain, Choi Sung-yong, 31 years of age. Referee, Mr. Masayoshi Okada. And it looks perfect day for football. A little bit of a breeze, lovely conditions, and a perfect surface for playing on. We've now come from Yokohama, the brand new stadium there where the first 2 rounds were held. We're now in Tokyo at the National Stadium, and the surface likely to be just as good. This is in many ways, I suppose you could say, the warm-up match, with Japan against China to come immediately afterwards. Midfield, number 14, Ko Jong-soo. Well, Cha Bun-kung looks as though he's trying to give him an extended run in the middle. Has really kept him out of the... Well, he was out of the Olympic squad. He wasn't in the World Cup qualifiers. But, you know, this is the future as far as Cha Bun-kung is concerned, a 19-year-old. Not yet really seen him dominate but the more, obviously, he plays, the better he's going to get. There is Cha Bun-kun, probably the most charismatic coach in Asia. And as always, deep in prayer just before the start of the match. For the Hong Kong squad, no change apart from just that one, the number 13, Leung Chi-wing, and that means that the likes of Mark Granger's 31, Tempest 34, Bradbury 34, all having really heavily depressed those, should we say, aging limbs. Sebastião Araujo says, praised heavily by Del Tempest, as you heard just before the start of the match. Now in his 60s. He's done a terrific job in the short period that he's been with Hong Kong. But I think we may find Hong Kong really put to the test here. Choi Young-soo leading the attack once again alongside Kim Do-hoon, who plays in Kobe, before Kobe in Japan. We're underway. Hong Kong and Korea's final leg of this Dynasty Cup. Korea must win handsomely and hope that by some strange quirk of fate Japan lose to China in the final match to have a hope of taking this Dynasty Cup. Korea lost the opening game to Japan 1-2 and they beat China 2-1. And I think the Koreans are just going to try and draw Hong Kong out. But Hong Kong will know exactly what to expect, and I don't suppose then they will go charging forward in the early stages. Ao Wai-lung. Thought he looked quite useful in the match against Japan. McCown had nowhere to go. Mark Granger, rather. Bradbury. Bolt made such a difference. Great distribution at the back. Plenty of class. Well, I thought I heard the keeper call and it didn't come, and very nearly made to pay for that indecision early on. Beautiful curved ball into the box, picked up by Choi Young-soo. This is the star of the show, I reckon, so far, along with the number 15, Lee Sang-yun. And Korea working themselves into a place for a shot. Lovely first-time ball. And Kevin Locke given the fright of his life. This man must be watched. Lee Sang-yun has scored 2 goals from unlikely positions, one against Japan and one against China.
This one whacks against the post, doesn't it? Kevin Locke obviously confident of his bearings there. He's a good player, this Lee Sang-yun. Got a nice right foot, tends to get good crosses in. He'll be disappointed not pulling that one back a little bit better. But he's got an eye for a goal as well. The wind's a factor, isn't it? The ball that they hung up that you suggested the goalkeeper called for may have been deceived by the wind, I fancy. Look at that one stop up.
I said a nice breeze, it's turning into a bit of a gale. And Hong Kong pinned back as Korea are knocking it around with some authority in these opening minutes. Bolt. This is Lee. Fullback Choi Sung-yun. And Kalkanov will be well aware of just how fast the 22-year-old fullback is. Was in very quickly there. Kalkanov wins that one. McCown is beaten, but illegally. This is Lee Ki-hyung, who I would imagine has been carrying an injury. He would normally be a starter. Hasn't been in this Dynasty Cup until today. pressure, told Tim Bredbury. He's got the run going over the far side, just behind the incoming player. It looked like Wong Wai Tak rather. Well, Dale Tempest stunned the crowd in the Yokohama Stadium with a goal early on, equalising Nakata's free kick. Be great if they could nick another one here. That won't do it.
Very refreshing the way the Hong Kong team, despite being underdogs, are quite prepared to play football. They're not just going to sit back and when they get the ball whack it long. We saw the other night that they like to play their football through the middle of the park. They keep the ball for a while and they do actually commit men forward. That was a good opening. Tim Bredbury possibly should have got a slightly better ball through there. Makes for an entertaining game. Of course, if their legs run out, then they could be in trouble.
Choi Young-soo. Back to the other Choi. Choi Sung-yong. Both teammates with Sang-moo. That's Ko. Choi Young-soo, free header. And he was trying to set up the man on his inside, Kim Do-hun, his strike partner. And I think it's one of those situations where Choi should have gone himself.
I think he was surprised the ball got as far as him. Dmitry Kalkanov completely lost his bearings and it kind of hit Choi, didn't it, rather than him actually making a positive contact.
Well, I'm sure he was cushioning it for his teammate. He could see him there and he was trying to get him in. But he was so much in control, I think, you know, in reflection he might have said, right, next time I'll go for goal. Mark Granger lost sight of that. Low Kaiwa, Tim Bredbury, faintest of touches. Korea able to play their first, and this is going to be the difference, I think, or one of the many that we're going to see here. Korea able to knock the first time balls and find their men. Once or twice Hong Kong have come out, they've not been able to hit the first time ball through. Good challenge. Nothing wrong with that. Tempest, his first time touch, just slightly overhit for Leung Chi-wing. Leung Chi-wing reduces the average age of the Hong Kong team rather dramatically, 19 years of age.
Yes, the average is a little bit misleading, isn't it? They've got a lot of players who are quite a lot older than the average and some who are quite a lot younger.
Ball, another one of his attempted specialities, the long through ball. Tempest plays out wide. Ao Wai Leung beaten by the very strong challenge of Choi Young-il, the skipper, but Hong Kong get it back. Tempest again leaves it. This is good movement by Hong Kong. 14 there is Wong Wai Tak. Gary McCowan. And a bit of a misunderstanding. You see the wind really picking up. Tempest, who's played for a lot of clubs through, started to make a name for himself at Huddersfield and Colchester, played for Fulham, went to Belgium, played for Lokeren, and has had 7 very successful years in Hong Kong, playing as a permitted player, having resided there for 7 years. Tim Bredbury is in the same category. Kalkanov, one of the 3 permitted internationals, the overseas players. Kalkanov, Tim O'Shea and Gary McCowan. Ko turning his man pretty easily there. Lovely curled ball into the far post. Yu Sang-chul not able to keep it down though. But I think it's terrific to see the 19-year-old taking all the free kicks.
Well, obviously the coach has got an awful lot of faith in him, and I thought the other evening he looked like a youngster. He made a lot of mistakes, but he did have the confidence to keep going for it again. That's a beautiful ball laid in, and couldn't quite get on top of it, but nice ball played in. And they do need a playmaker in the middle of the park, someone to do the job that Nakata does for Japan.
An indifferent cross, easily cut out. It's well kept in. Gary McCowan. Tempest just knocking it back to the left fullback. Wai Lun again with Choi Young-il in close attendance. Tim O'Shea. Poor ball from Choi. Wai Lun just didn't really have control of it. Nice first time ball. They've got two players in the middle of Korea. Choi Young-soo and Kim Do-hun waiting for the ball in. Choi, the number 10, hasn't quite starred in this Dynasty Cup as we would have expected to him after how well he played in the World Cup qualifiers. Granger up against Choi. Still with Choi, they better be careful. Well, he beat three players there, but ultimately could not get the left foot across. But it looks to be a left fullback that's right-footed.
Well, he's certainly a left fullback who likes to make these jinking runs. He's only a little guy, low centre of gravity, changes direction quickly.
Well gathered by Kevin Locke. Lee Sang-yun looks to take the corner kicks. Ko Jung-soo plays for the Suwon Samsung side. Cha Won-kun whispering something on the touchline. This is a player that Cha rates very highly. Hong Min-bo plays in Japan for Hirotaka. All the way through, set up, got the drive coming in, still ricocheting around. Oh, and they tried to play football out, but just gave it away to Ko. It's a good challenge. Excellent challenge by Lo Kai-hwa. Again, winning the ball in the air. Choi again. I mean, how he gets such free headers, it's quite extraordinary, and eventually put over by the midfielder Yu Sang-chul.
It's a great skill from the forwards, finding space in what's basically a very crowded penalty area. Just pulls off his man Kalkanov. It's the second time we've seen Kalkanov lose him, and the mental discipline required to stay close all the time is very tough. I think if Kalkanov gets close enough, he may be able to get the jump on Choi Young-soo. But if he keeps peeling away like that, he's going to cause them a lot of trouble.
I think it's also testament to the quality of the balls in as well. Wai Lung and Choi. Wai Lung wasn't sure that he actually wanted to play for the national team. There were some doubts as to whether he was going to go, whether he was fit enough, whether he was motivated enough. It seems extraordinary. So he's doing a decent job. Choi Sung-yeon. Yeah, but he'll go for the return. Well, he keeps it. No, he doesn't keep it in. But it was almost an identical 1-2 that set Choi up for his first goal against China the other day. The give and go. It's amazing how it's predictable, but very difficult to defend against.
Well, he starts making the run before his opponent, and he has got terrific pace, the young man. Unfortunately for Hong Kong, that one was slightly overhit.
Quarter of an hour gone, so far so good. Kevin Locke dangerously out into no man's land. Yeah, Dale Tempest there, who's a teammate of Kevin Locke, so give it everything you got, nothing half-hearted. You see, he went out and then he just stopped. Said before, he's not even the first choice keeper for South China. They have an expatriate in between the posts and have done for a long while. He's only 24, so he's got a long future ahead of him.
And he's not looked the worst goalkeeper in this particular tournament. Some of the gentlemen playing the other end have performed rather less spectacularly. The Korean goalkeeper actually has looked pretty steady, the giant Seo Dong-myung.
Again, a good quality ball in, but that time marker was just a little bit tighter to Kim. Space here for Choi Sung-yeon. Didn't quite make it to Wai Lun. But Hong Kong still maintaining their discipline. You can hear Sebastião Araujo as well on the bench. That looked offside. No whistle though against the newcomer Leung Chi-wing.
Really put the cat among the pigeons if Hong Kong were to sneak a goal. Going back to their coach, I think he's done a super job with them. They look very well organised. They're keeping their shape, aren't they? They're very disciplined. And you won't go too far wrong provided you keep your shape.
Mark Granger nicking it inside to Kalkanov and getting it back. And that's a good challenge. Lee Sang-hun, the Anyang player. So he's another youngster. We saw a minute ago, 22 years of age. So they've got one or two very good, very young players. It's well played. Ball should come in the middle. Tempest waiting unmarked. And Gary McCown couldn't keep that under control. Gary McCown couldn't have believed he'd be playing for Hong Kong. He's only been in the territory a short while and plays for one of the lower sides, Yi Hope. Got picked by Araujo for the Lunar New Year tournament that took place in Hong Kong at the end of January. Should be the keepers. Lun with Choi again. Tempest trying to get to his feet. Just plenty of commitment from Tempest. Midfield, Hong Kong's working pretty hard, trying to close down the opportunities, keep the men marked across the middle.
Against Japan the other evening, I thought the Korean movement was very good, and against China the same thing. But it's not so impressive against the Hong Kong side.
I think at the moment Hong Kong have just funneled back and they're keeping that sort of section in the middle of the field well policed. They're having to do a lot of work to keep up with the Koreans, and I think that's the worry. You know, they'll maybe be able to do it for a half. Whether they can do it for 90 minutes is another question. Choi. Brown behind Granger. But that's what he's capable of. That little burst of speed took him round the defender. And it came onto his, what I think appears to be his weaker left foot.
I think you're right there, Brian. Lovely turn of pace and cuts inside very intelligently, but just seemed to lose his footing a little bit. I wondered if there was a suspicion Granger was clipping his heels at all, but if it was, then it was entirely accidental. But I think Granger's got a real problem on his hands looking after that young man throughout the match.
Now this is looking promising. Good early ball from Ko, and this may be the first goal, except the kick was scuffed from Lee Sang-yun of all people. 2 goals already to his credit. Nice square ball, wasn't it, from Ko?
It's well pulled back indeed, and we've already seen in several occasions Lee Sang-yun is very, very right-footed in the way that left-footed players sometimes are.
We'll get you to explain that in a minute. I know what you mean. Too long before Hong Min-bo starts coming forward. Here he is inside the fullback for that. Yeah, you see, he doesn't want to hit it with his left. Cha Bun-kun has got to find a left fullback. Switch Choi to the other side.
I'm just wondering if they've got any left-footed players throughout the team, actually. Nobody springs to mind, I must say.
Curled all the way to the back. Tempest finds Ao Wai Lung up the field. It's it's when they're forced to hit those sort of balls that it's going to start falling apart. So Lo Kaiwa had no chance for that ball downfield. Araujo wants really only a short passing game. He was very emphatic with his players. He said, I don't want to see long passes when he got them together. Said, you're good enough to play it, and that's the way I want you to do it. And they've responded really well. Common ball. McCown with a gentle nudge in the back. Bradbury trying to clip it forward to Tempest. Breaks down again. But Lee Sang-yun there, the number 15, is not a man that can be left alone. Seeing how dangerous he's been with two very opportunist goals. Bradbury. Very nearly finding McCown down the flank. So it's very congested there, isn't it? Right, back to Hongmen-bo and see where they can start their attack from now. Just a little bit off target. Kalkanov. Oh, the problem now is Kalkanov's drawn out of position. That's well played by Wong Wai-tak. Now I look. Oh, and he misses it. Well, that was the best. You wouldn't even call it a chance because he's so way out, but the best chance to start constructing a meaningful attack. Tempest back to Tim O'Shea. Picked up by Yu Sang-chul. Bradbury just nudges it to Wong Wai-tak. As I say, the long balls are just going to give possession to Korea.
I think Hong Kong are under no circumstances are going to throw too many men forward, because if they do that, the Koreans are physically very impressive and can break and get at them. So long ball, very, very little chance of anything coming from it.
Yu Sang-chul into the edge of the box, but away comes Hong Kong. It's well played. Wai-lun spreads that one deep to Mark Granger. Tim Bradbury. This is looking better. Tim O'Shea has come right up. Now Wai-lun has gone down the flanks. Bradbury just not able to find him. Tim O'Shea, a Londoner. Wai-lun losing out. Hongmen-bo. Hongmen-bo may change direction here, spread it left. Choi Sung-yun once again gets round behind Granger. Slightly better cross. This is Ko, and that's a good challenge there. It looked like Dale Tempest in the box.
So here's another example there where it's Choi Sung-yong that looks the player most likely to get behind the defence. The Koreans have probed down both flanks most of this half, not really done it on the right side to any good effect. A couple of times behind on the left, that time a very good ball played in. But crowded out by the Hong Kong defence, stuck to their guns well.
let's see if they can mount something down that right flank. Should be Lee Sang-yun. No, it's the number 3, Lee Ki-hyung. Another youngster, so they've got a 22 and a 23-year-old as the 2 fullbacks. Ko Jong-soo to take this. Choi onto his right foot, and Kevin Locke, I think, had seen that all the way through. See the shot coming in from Lee Ki-hyung. No problems for the keeper.
Well, he's got to halfway through. Half an hour gone in the game, and Kevin Locke's hardly had a save to make so far.
Korea starting to open it up now. Out to Choi again. All the way back, So Jong-min. Probably his second touch of the game. He got a back pass in the first minute or so. So he's not seen it for half an hour. Choi. Well, he cuts in onto the, trying to get it onto the right foot. We may see him go all the way. No. Thought he might have carried on. Tim O'Shea takes it away from the keeper. They'd be able to control this and come forward. This is Leung. Nice, he moves well, this Leung. The ultimate pass out towards Ao Wai-lung, not accurate enough. But Leung Chi-wing has had a couple of those little runs where he's beaten the first man very stylishly. Galkanov. Well, it was a nothing sort of pass, wasn't it? Driven straight at Ao Wai-lung's head. Now this should hold up in the wind. No one back. Plenty of white shirts there. Tempest. Ao Wai-lung chasing back from that lone centre-forward position. Choi. One wide tack, blocking that shot from Lee Ki-hyung. Was offside.
He's not really stamped himself on the game at all so far, made far too many mistakes and not really come up with anything particularly telling. You can forgive him making mistakes if he hurts the opposition, but so far he's only really hurt the Korean cause. Cha Bum-kun not looking too pleased with things.
Well, you mentioned Nakata. I mean, he's certainly not, doesn't appear to be a playmaker in that mould, a man that can dominate midfield and likes a lion's share of the play. Mark Ranger will be able to put a crossover here. Pulls it back. Needed just a little bit more height on the ball in. And Hong Kong coming forward. Now, this is when, paradoxically, it becomes dangerous from, because they're stretched out. But Ao Lung gets the ball inside to Granger again. Square ball on for Bredbury. Where's it going? Bredbury, turn. And it breaks down. Bredbury didn't know where to go there.
It was an agony of indecision, wasn't it, from Bredbury? It was a shame because there was a nice little break on, and if they could have got the ball in front of Bredbury, he could have had a strike.
And a misunderstanding there with Lo Kai-Wah expecting a run in from Tim Bredbury. Lo Kai-Wah again, but Yu Sang-chul comes away from him. It looks as though Lo has taken a knock. Bit of pace about this attack by Korea. Kalkanov lets it go. They do try and construct in the box. You know, it's not just a header towards goal every time the ball comes in. There, they was definitely trying to seek out Choi Young-soo. Lee fouled by Tim Bredbury. Wai Lung spots the loose ball. Just too far ahead of Tempest.
Mentioned Wai Lung just then, Brian. I think he's had a very good half, actually. It's a difficult task trying to hold that line up there, but he's made himself available and held the ball up very well.
Granger finding life a little bit tough in this match. Away comes Kalkanov. 1 against 2. Kalkanov's going to go all the way, take it on. I regret to say I knew that would happen. He tried one shot earlier from about 30 yards that was way wide and high, and I didn't have any confidence about that going in either. I think he may have just had a little bit more confidence, taking it into the box. Let's see if they fly in with a challenge. Kalkanov getting to that. Nice first time touch, but there was nowhere for Kim Do-hun to go. Choi leaves it to Choi Sung-young. Ko beats Granger rather easily, and Kevin Locke got a good tackle. That's the first real save he's had to make. Just not working for Korea. But that was their best moment. As we are even now, I suppose, starting to approach half-time. Lovely ball. Keeper had to come and punch, try and keep his head out of harm's way. And Lee Ki-hung, I don't know whether that was a justified shot on goal or whether he was just trying to knock it forward, hoping that somebody else was going to get a touch.
It's a very dangerous time for Hong Kong, isn't it? They've had a very good half. There's 7 or 8 minutes to go to the half-time. They're probably a little bit tired physically and certainly a bit tired mentally. If they can just hang on, it'll be such a boost for them if they could go in at half-time 0-0.
Granger again with some work to do. Corner kick. curled out.
Talking about left-footed players earlier, he's certainly taking the corner kicks left-footed, but the way he strikes, I'm not entirely sure that that's his favoured foot. Perhaps they just prefer to take it with the left foot from the left side, as many of the teams do.
Tim O'Shea has got to be sure here. This may be the breakthrough. Cho Young-soo bouncing it into the ground with no power, and Kevin Locke was able to gather.
First reaction was, I wonder if he could have just dinked this over the goalkeeper. If he could have just lifted it over him, the goal was unprotected.
Choi Young-soo hasn't got his scoring touch in this tournament. Lee Ki-hung dispossesses Leung Chi-wing. This game has actually probably broken the record for the least number of free kicks awarded. Lee Ki-hung drives that one in. Hong Kong with 6 players back in a line. Tempest, the half challenge. Choi Sung-yong. Ko with a flick. Kalkanov right behind him. And Kim Do-hun saying, I was pushed.
Kalkanov seems a lot more laid back about the game this evening than he was on Wednesday night. Maybe that's because they haven't conceded any goals so far, but seems to be playing it in a good spirit at the moment. And doing a pretty steady job in the defence.
I would imagine that they felt that one or two of the decisions were going against them, whether just a question of bad luck. I guess 50-50 decisions didn't go their way, and Kalkanov was involved in a couple of them. 2 penalties given away. Sure, he felt hard done by them. So less for him to get excited about. Challenging from the back, well played. Good first time ball from Bredbury out to the left. Ao Wai-lun just out of reach. To the last couple of minutes of this first half. Korea 0, Hong Kong 0. Lee. Again, you see the runs when you're on that wide shot. The man coming in, that was Lee Sang-yun, number 15, looking to get on the end of Choi's ball. Choi Young-il, Ko spreads it wide. Kim Do-hun seems to be spending a lot of time on the floor these last couple of minutes. Ko. Tempest bringing down Yu Sang-chul.
Played a little bit more withdrawn this evening, Dale Tempest.
Yellow card. Hardly been a savage game, has it?
I think there must have been for a bit of dissent afterwards rather than the original foul, which was very innocuous, wasn't it?
Well, Dale picked up a yellow card in the last match, I guess, for dissent. And safety first employed, and you see Granger looking round saying, well, I didn't get a call. Keeper comes, this could be it. Oh, it's a good defensive defensive header, and Locke gathers. Well, it was Wong Wai Tak that got in the way and prevented that clear header by Lee Sang-hun.
That's an absolutely brilliant defensive header. Lovely ball played in, keeper under pressure, and you fancy that must be a goal. Super defending from Wong Wai Tak, throwing his body in there bravely. This fella must have thought he was going to open their account.
Well, there's been no stoppages at all as far as I can remember. We're into stoppage time now. Referee blows for half-time. One that I think Hong Kong will be a lot more happy with than Korea. Korea, the overwhelming favourites for this one, have not really troubled the goalkeeper, Kevin Locke, apart from those two brief moments towards the end. The half-time score, Hong Kong 0, Korea 0. And the score at half-time, 0-0. One change we've noticed as the players came out. The number 11, Jin Sun-jin, is on, I would imagine, to Kim Do-hun playing up front. So, discussing things during the half-time interval. So, Korea would need a little bit more quality in a couple of positions. They've got to find someone to play with Cho Young-soo at the front. And maybe even Ko Jong-soo has gone off, the youngster in midfield. No, Kim Do-hong's still there, so it could be Ko. But now Hong Kong have the breeze directly at them. Tempest just coming in on the back of Cho Young-soo and pleading his innocence there. It was clearly a push. That's the substitute, Jin. Well, a bit wind assisted. Yu Sang-chul wasting that opportunity.
Like a conversion at rugby, didn't it, that one? It's one of the worst free kicks I think I've seen taken.
So they'll have to just maybe take a few minutes to get adjusted to the fact that they're now playing with the wind rather than against it. Hong Kong trying to gain possession, do well in the middle there, but the ball wide to... Oh, well, that looked like Ko, so we still haven't solved the mystery as who's gone off. Cha Bun-kun would certainly not be happy if this would have finished 0-0. Ah Wai-lun beats his man rather easily. Dale Tempest knocks it square. This is Lo Kai-wah, and again underhits the pass. Lung Chi-wing had no chance. Tempest. Just a little bit too excitable, Bredbury having to stretch to get on the end of that. Now, the pattern for Korea in the two matches we've seen already is that they start the second half very, very strong. Very quick, and it seems to be more of the same in this one. I think Cha Bun-kun has maybe given them a bit of a rocket, saying, what, 45 minutes and no goal? Choi. Only one man there and three defenders around him. And Leung Chi-wing hits it straight into touch. Japan, of course, are playing in a match immediately after this one against China. There's a good return ball and plenty of defenders there and it's hacked upfield. Combination of Leung and Wong Wai Tak breaking that one down. Lee and Leung. And Lee all over the defender. Okada, the referee from Japan. See, Lee might fancy his chances on the edge of the box, win behind. He's got a good right foot shot.
Certainly, they don't seem to have adapted to the change in the wind direction, or at least them playing with the wind in the opposite direction, slightly overhitting the ball. Not easy playing with a strong wind either. A lot of players prefer playing against it, so it holds up. Tendency to overhit it when you're playing with the wind.
Safety first by Tim O'Shea. Wong Wai Tak knocking the ball back into him, right in the centre. It should be Leung's. He'll just be able to let that one go. Jerry McCown. And Ah Wai Lung looks as though he's got a stray elbow in the side of the head. Lee, very nearly cut out. This is Choi Young-il, the skipper. Ah Wai Lung is still down on the deck. I think it was an elbow. Let's see if we can see what happened here. That's Choi. Well, was it an elbow? Was it the back of the head? Elbow. Choi Young-il is a hard man. Got sent off in the match against Japan in Seoul when Japan won that one against all odds, 2-0. And it's good to see Choi Young-il and Ah Wai Lung just shaking hands there. Choi keeps it in, comes inside Granger. Tim Bradbury nicks it away. This is Jin, first time he's touched it. Wins a corner.
They didn't make very much of the corners early in the first half, but the last one that they had was about the closest they came to a goal. Interesting to see what they can do on this one.
Oh, that one goes deep and long. Tempest knocks it back to Kalkanov, who's beaten by Jin. Tim O'Shea clears. And that's a good break out of defence by Hong Kong. Here's Ah Wai Lung. Oh, I wonder if he gets a card for that. Watch it here, it's Choi again, and he's gone right in with his stud. He deserves a yellow card. And he's getting one. Or is that a red card? Well, let's see if the colour of the graphic turns out to be correct. Choi is still there. Well, if he did get a red card, he's not going anywhere.
I think you would expect him to look a little more agitated if he'd got a red card. It is a nasty little challenge, and he knew that he had to do his man as well there, because there was a good break on for Hong Kong.
I'm afraid that was a cynical challenge. He'd been beaten. And going in on a man's shins with studs up. Wow. Well, let's hope for Wai Lung's sake and Hong Kong's sake that he's going to be fit to continue. He's got the shin pad protection there, but obviously it's come right through, and it did look as though Choi was off. So I was just mentioning that he got sent off against Japan, and there he goes again. Both sides down to 10 men, but Hong Kong at least will be able to get back to full complement in a moment or two. Tim O'Shea coming in hard on Lee Sang-yun.
It was an honest challenge, wasn't it, from O'Shea? All right, it was a foul, but there's nothing cynical about it. It's a good hard man getting stuck in. Presumably the Hong Kong players must feel there's just a hint of an upset in the air. Their opponents down to 10 men.
Still no sign. Looks as though it's Wai Lun is back on the field. Decision going against Kim Do-hun. So I'm not sure that Cha Bun-kun will consider that Kim Do-hun is the answer up front. It straight back to Gary McCown. Still with McCown, tries to play a 1-2. It needs to go over to the right hand side, but that's cleared. Now they've got to get their men back.
Well, it certainly was a promising attack that they put together, Hong Kong, and they mustn't get too carried away with it, but there is a chance that they could catch out the Koreans, who are a little bit light at the back now.
Into the back of Ko. Good first time ball, finds Bredbury. Wai Lung. He's got Tempest going inside him. That's aimed for Tempest. And Lee Sang-yun able to watch that one go over. Kim, another substitute, has come on, the number 7. Bredbury. Tempest leaves it. Good balls. Well, Granger looked as though he'd landed on the side of Lee, but the referee not impressed. Lee gets up. And it looks as though Wai Lun is now starting to struggle. Maybe a recurrence of the pain he had from that knock earlier on. This is a good build-up. Into the side netting by Kalkanov. Well, Lee Sang-hun, well, he's holding his knee there. I thought it was initially the challenge where player landed on his head. Tim Bredbury knocks it inside. Lovely ball there. And definitely a corner kick. This was the challenge with Granger. See, Granger had to leap up to get away from the studs.
Just as he was landing, his flailing foot caught him in the head.
Yeah.
It was a robust challenge from both players, nothing illegal. Kalkanov got a long way forward there as well. They just mustn't get too carried away with it, Hong Kong.
Better ball inside, and that's it, is it? No! Kevin Locke at point-blank range saves from Choi Young-soo. it's about time this man found his goal-scoring touch. Perfect opportunity there. It's a bit of a handball. Ko went for the 1-2, and that's complete waste. And by Yu's taken up the captain's armband. Lovely ball curled in just behind that line of defenders, and that was a very good first-time touch, I think, from Ko.
Choi Yong-soo looks as if he strayed offside, but was just played level, and really, top-class centre-forward, you've got to knock those in. Kevin Locke does well to spread himself, but he should have had no chance from there.
Tim O'Shea manages to clear. Starting to give the ball away, Hong Kong. They've got to be careful. They've basically got to play the same way that they did in the first half. And Wai Lung will certainly find life a little bit easier without Cho Young-il right up behind him. Bradbury with a touch back. Oh, it's a waste. The youngster Leung Chi-wing. Can't see any marks or bruises on the side of his face. So a bit of a gift back for Hong Kong. Right-sided midfielder here who's come on in the second half, Kim Jun-hyuk. And now Wai Lun has been struggling. Wai Kwan Leung comes on.
I think it's a great shame for the Hong Kong team. Wai Lun had a very good game up to that point and was actually causing a few problems to the Korean defence. They'll miss him badly.
Kalkanov with a deep header. This is the substitute who's got a lot of pace, Wai Kwan Leung. The 1-2 try, but oh dear, bit of a miscue by Wong Wai-tak. Jin plays it back. They get the ball in the area. It's a chance here. Yu just squares it up and charged down by Kalkanov. And this is why. Bit of space, and look at Kalkanov's pace. 31 years of age, he's still plenty of running in him. Bradbury's in the middle, so too is Count. It's got to come far side. This is Gary McCown. Have they lost their chance? Offside over on the far side against Kalkanov, but finally the referee sees it. Didn't get back quick enough. Well, at 31, quick enough to get up, but not quick enough to get back.
He certainly got a good gallop in him, and it was a terrific breakaway from Hong Kong, and didn't really pick out the man at all, did it? It just hung it up far too high in the air, took all the pace out of the attack. But they certainly got men forward there. Hong Kong must have had 5 players in the opposing penalty area.
Nicely timed challenge. Leung looks as though he's getting a little bit of confidence as the game progresses. Kim hangs it in high. Kalkanov with a header. Touch under Tim Bradbury. That's it, Bradbury, just keep it. Gary McCown's to his left. There's a man way over on the right-hand side. This is McCown. That's dangerous. Giving a ball away like that, Korea can hit on the break. Choi, it's about the first run he's had in this second half. Leung with a header, but misdirected. Plenty of bodies back for Hong Kong. Good ball square inside. Tempest finds his man out on the left. This is Wai Kwan Loong. Don't shoot. That's it, hold it up. Further right. This is a much better move by Hong Kong. Curled in. Oh, and it's over the crossbar by Kim. Could have gone anywhere, that clearance. And Hong Kong have got a corner.
This is how to knock the crosses in, isn't it? Wicked ball, curving in behind these players. Difficult to defend, and as you say, could have easily been an own goal there. 3 players in the penalty area again, putting a lot of pressure on.
Good run by Tim Bredbury, actually near post, taking a man out of the middle. There's Tim Bredbury with Lee next to him. Oh dear, hit to the back, way too deep. Tim O'Shea, plenty of composure. And that's another break on. Oh, just too far ahead of Gary McCown.
I think you'd have to say that Hong Kong are playing marginally the better of the 2 teams just at the moment. They're looking dangerous on the break and comfortable in defence. I must say I'm a bit surprised to see Tim Bredbury come off. I thought he was playing extremely well. Must be absolutely worn out, I guess. He did come off about this same stage in the last game as well.
Replaced by last year's Footballer of the Year, Ricky Cheng. And Kevin Locke in the action there. Kim Do-hun just a couple of strides away from that one. Space again, this is Wai. 4 players in the middle, you've got to find your man. That's all very well breaking like that. They've got 4 players now out of the middle, so there's extra work to get back and get ball side, goal side.
Yes, I think if the Koreans are going to be smart there, they have to play on the break, but when it did break down, they just took too long about it.
Kim Do-hun played the offside trap beautifully there, came round behind Mark Granger. Kevin Locke pouches that.
The very best players have a slightly better first touch on the ball than that. I know it was a difficult ball, but you see one of the top players, he just cushions that one.
Tim O'Shea gives it. It ends up with Choi Young-soo, is it? No, penalty. Choi Young-soo went for that. Watch it here. Jin knocks the ball inside. He's cut round. No penalty, sorry. Wong Wai Tak, number 14, was the man coming away from that challenge.
Well, I have to confess he conned me, Brian. I thought it was a penalty, but you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Didn't make a challenge at, well, didn't get near to playing the man. And that is a striker who's a little bit out of sorts, isn't it? You'd have fancied him to score there on several occasions today. Not scored yet in the Dynasty Cup.
Tim O'Shea not standing on ceremony there, just knocking it out. I wonder if we're going to see, well, we are going to see Nakata in action in a short while. Japan wait to take on China in the match next on this pitch. Almost an own goal, and the merest of touches from Kevin Locke to knock it away. Kim crossed it in, and it was Kalkanov there that very nearly scored an own goal that really would have wrecked Hong Kong's hopes. Driven it deep to the back. Dale Tempest up against Jin. And Kalkanov, and you heard the cry, hold. Away comes Wai. He's got plenty of support here. There needs to be a little better movement here. We're into the penalty area. McCowan never balanced. And Lee hurried into knocking that one wide. Well, that was Ricky Cheng's first involvement.
Certainly takes up a great position there. His first touch not too clever, but really should have looked for support. Probably just hung on to the ball a little while there.
Lokai Wah, the number 15, was alongside him. Should be Hong Kong's. The return ball played by Ricky Cheng. Lung with a good cross. Certainly there's space now in the middle. Lee finds the fullback Choi.
Korea must be worried about the way Choi, the fullback, drifts out of the game. He looks so good when he's involved, but then long periods without him getting forward at all.
Well, the other point to bear in mind is that Wai plays more as a right winger than Ao Wai Lun. So I'm sure Araujo has said, right, you go and play over in that right wing position. Hang there, and that's going to keep Choi quiet, the left fullback. But here's a moment of danger because Lee Sang-young is very accurate with these balls in. They were queuing up there. 3 Koreans. Choi Young-soo just can't find the touch he wants. Came off the defender.
Very well defended, actually, isn't it? Because there were 3 men queuing up just behind him. Good defensive header after a great ball knocked in from Lee Sang-yoon.
Another free header for Yi.
This is the free kick again. That's good work indeed from Gary McCowan.
So Yu Sen-chul hands over the armband. Getting a bit ragged for Korea. Well, Cha Bum-kun's got 2 problems, of course. He wants a World Cup class performance out of his team. This is number 13, Kim Tae-young. Wants a World Cup performance, and of course they need a fairly handy win here as well to stand any chance of taking the Dynasty Cup. Japan with the match to come in the stadium immediately following. Up against China. Already with 2 wins under their belt, and of course a 5-1 win over Hong Kong.
Decision given against this speedy young man, Leong Chi-wing, who's shown electric pace down the left side. They've played a couple of balls inside the fullback. Yeah, just about maybe straight offside. Man in the middle of the pitch may have just about been playing him on, but the referee's assistant is the one who counts. But certainly Leung's caused a lot of problems down the left flank.
Presumably the referee not liking the foot up. Still yet to see a convincing free kick from Korea.
It's an indirect free kick for dangerous play, so they'll need to open the angle up and pass it to someone else. Don't think they've got anyone who strikes the ball well enough to go for goal from this range.
Ko Jong-soo doesn't mind trying his luck. From these, of course, they got the wind behind. That may encourage them to go, never mind the distance. Just that one extra touch. Hong Min-bo, the man to step in and take responsibility. That first touch, because Tempest had closed him down very quickly, that initial angle for the first time shot. Lee just wide of the target man. Kim back to Lee. I remind you that Korea are playing one man short after Choi Young-il received a red card for a bad challenge on Ao Wai-lung of Hong Kong, who has subsequently gone off. Deep ball, the header coming back in once again. This is a better spell for Korea. An overlap from Lee Ki-hyung. Nice choice, switch sides.
Well, he looks as if he's much more naturally suited to playing on the right flank, because he so favours that right foot, but if that's the quality of his crossing with the right, then perhaps he's better off sticking to the left. I would imagine that the Hong Kong players don't feel nearly as tired at this stage of this game as they did at the same stage against Japan. Makes a great deal of difference when you're 3 or 4 goals down compared with this, where they must feel they're in with a shout, in with a chance of causing an upset.
Well, even if Hong Kong win this sneak it by the odd goal, they're still going to finish bottom of the 14 group on goal difference. It's that 4 goals deficit in the match against Japan really tell against them. Beaten just 1-0 by China. And Korea with a 1-2 and a 2-1 result, dead level. Hong Kong coming away. Tempest knocks it back. Plenty of space here for Ricky Cheng. Well, not a very good cross from the former player of the year, I'm afraid. There was so much space in front of him, he might even have been better off taking it in towards the goal.
Up to that point, it had been play of the very highest order. It was super approach play. And Ricky Cheng, yeah, I agree with you, Brian. I felt he should have gone forward, attacked the penalty area and seen what he could have come up with there.
Well, if he thinks back to Choi Sung-yong's run against China from that identical position, take it, fired at the goalkeeper low, you never know what you might come up with. Of course, the one other permutation, I said Hong Kong will finish would finish bottom if they were to lose this. If it carries on as a 0-0 draw, then there's really very strong pressure on China in that last match against Japan to get a draw, because China could well end up with no points at all. So it would be a very big embarrassment for China to finish below Hong Kong. Just correct, of course, we see this bit of play because China won their first game against Hong Kong 1-0. And a player has gone down and stayed down. Well, no, it isn't. I don't know what it is over there. Well, it's getting very scrappy here. Kim. Inside to Choi Sung-yong. Well, Lun came in late with the challenge, and it was timed well enough in the end.
And the crucial thing is that he's got the pace, hasn't he, Leung? He's done totally here in the original situation, but he has got the legs to get back. It's a rash challenge, but he took it with the left foot.
And clearly came off Choi for a goal kick. Low Kai Wah off. Kim inside. And the ricochet back, Kalkanov, and Kevin Locke did well, realising it was a back pass. Well, even though they're one man short, Korea, I think, just starting to move the pace up a little bit. I'm not sure that Hong Kong have the quality to put away those occasional breaks. Here's a chance. Oh, it's off the woodwork. Maybe this isn't Korea's day. That's Choi Yong-soo. He cannot find the back of the net. What a let-off for Hong Kong.
It certainly was. I hope as we see it again, I thought there was a suspicion of handball by Choi Yong-soo there, with his left hand, maybe even the right hand afterwards. And then it clips the post, and here we see it again.
Well, looks as though it came down off his chest, off his right thigh. But certainly none of the Hong Kong players were appealing there. Choi must start thinking now, well, this is not going to go in, whatever I've done has not worked today. Tempest gets back. Holman Bowl, not brought down. Always high from Lee. Well, is it going to be one of these Lee Sang-yun specials for Korea? He strikes the ball very cleanly.
With this howling gale behind him, I suppose he was almost, 10 yards too close to the goal, really. But you do get the feeling that the game's just going to run away from Korea, that it's not working for their forwards. Kevin Locke in goal for Hong Kong's done a good job as well.
Well, after the 5 goals that were conceded against Japan, this will be an enormous boost to his confidence. Tempest comes away. Now stay on side. Why is offside? That was foolish play from Wai. Just didn't look around, wasn't aware of what was on. How frustrating was that? And Tempest just had to keep it. may have been Kalkanov.
Yeah, I think it probably was Kalkanov, actually, one of those galloping runs forward, and they had 5 forwards against 4 defenders, and the youngster there straight into just exactly the wrong position. Glory beckon for the Hong Kong team with 6 minutes to go.
Hong Kong throw. Well, there's the captain that was given the red card. How can they keep it in? Tempest comes off second best in that challenge and stays down. Choi Sung-young is not having a good day either. Maybe just starting to strain a little bit too much, getting frustrated that the breakthrough is not coming. McCowan goes long for Ricky Cheng. Lee Tide is up at the back. Hong Won-bo is now pushed forward. As an extra midfielder has come out of the back line, leaving the duties there to Lee Ki-hyung, and not Lee Ki-hyung, to Lee Sang-jun. Point blank save. There's a paper bag or something causing extra problems for the goalkeeper's concentration, flying around in the penalty box. No offside there, and wide of the target, Choi Young-soo again. Well, desperate times now for both teams. No, it wasn't offside, was it? Absolutely the right call.
Very good decision from the referee, and once again, Choi Young-soo looking every inch a forward who's out of sorts. Doesn't really get much of a connection on this at all. Not an easy skill, of course, but you'd expect a player of his sort of calibre keeping his eye on the ball the whole while, but not a clean volley. Just prior to that was a really clean chance, and Kevin Locke did awfully well spreading his body to keep the ball out.
Well, Cha Bun-kun is 1 or 2 players short. That's a smart header back from Kalkanov.
I think Kalkanov could be in line for player of the match, actually. I think he's had a storming game for them.
Absolutely. Kim able to find a loose player. Choi can't keep it in. Time running out. Well, the way things have gone, I think Hong Kong might even be a little bit disappointed. They don't get more out of it if they just get a draw. Smart play from the Hong Kong player. He was just out of reach, but he got himself between the ball and the player. He gets up, he had no real chance of getting that.
It's more of an older player's trick, and a young man like Leung, I'm surprised he knows that one.
Well, Cha Bun-kun might be thinking, if I can't beat Hong Kong, what chance have we got in France? Tempest turns, wins a throw. Oh, no, he doesn't. Well, this is probably Araujo's last game in charge. Not a bad performance, restricting the World Cup qualifiers to a 0-0 scoreline. And of course, not so long ago in the Lunar New Year tournament, Hong Kong beat Chile 3-1. for the Hong Kong League 11. Still a couple of minutes to go, though. I reckon we've got a minute and a half or so to be added on. The injury to Ao Wai Lun earlier. This is Lee. Still with Lee. Not a bad cross. Oh, Kalganov has nearly done it again. That's the second time he's got up with a header and very nearly deflected it into his own goal. Oh, there he is again. Corner kick to Korea. Desperate stuff now. Kevin Lockman just got a touch to that. Lee feeds it back. Again, they're queuing up, and again, another good header. Lee Sang-yun. Oh, he's off the crossbar, and it's in. All the hard work for nothing. Conceding a goal in the last minute of the match. And would you believe it, Choi eventually gets the touch, and it was very nearly Lee Sang-yun with another extravagant goal.
Well, it's a cruel game, football, isn't it? The keeper misjudges this one, but you think fortune's favoured them again, hitting the post. The header goes in, it's an own goal in the end, isn't it?
Well, I reckon that it was on it. I mean, yes, Kalganov got the last touch, but I think it was destined for the back of the net in any event. The little camera behind the goal. Oh, well, I hope it doesn't go down as an own goal to Kalganov. He certainly doesn't deserve that. But having very nearly scored an own goal just seconds before.
He's come close to getting a hat-trick of own goals, hasn't he? And that really is cruel, because Korea, to be truthful, haven't deserved to win this game. They've looked pretty unimaginative, especially in this second half.
Got in from Young. They might still get something there as Tempest tried to back into that. Well, it'll be the last game in charge for Araujo, and I think it might be the last international for one or two of the players, like Dale Tempest and Tim Bredbury. Kevin Locke saved well. I was just thinking, I hope he's not going to finish with any more goals. Hong Min-bo comes in, and what a bitter blow for Hong Kong, who played so well, who kept out a lacklustre career right until the 90th minute. And we're either going to give it as a Choi Young-soo goal. I think I'd rather do that than give it as a Kalganov own goal. Tim O'Shea absolutely gutted for Hong Kong. The final score, Korea 1, Hong Kong 0. We now wait for the final game, which Japan now must win to make sure of the spoils.